somewhere you can spend a couple of hours is the National Museum of Korea in Seoul, which is an enormous museum, several levels high. In fact, it's kind of like Close Encounters, spaceships landing and everything. Very spacious and air conditioned, thank goodness. The museum is obviously very well aware that Korea is interconnected with Asian culture from the region, so there's quite a bit from other countries. Probably the best exhibit that was there was one about the Sinan ship, which departed early 1323, that's the year, from China, and various artifacts from the shipwreck were collected from the bottom of the sea, including wooden tags, ceramics, metalware, Buddhist statuettes, and spices, seeds, weapons. And it gained everyone a valuable insight into shipboard life at the time. So you can walk through this whole exhibition and get a really good snapshot of history from 1323. So trade overseas played an important role during the Yuan dynasty from 1271 through to 1368, and sea trade was flourishing, and there were major maritime routes leading westward to the Middle East and Asia, India, Southeast Asia, and Korea and Japan. So the shipwreck was full of Chinese goods, this particular one off the southwest coast of Korea at Sinan, and it was heading towards Japan. So the artifacts were of great historical value, and they've definitely expanded the knowledge of early East Asian trade along the maritime Silk Route. So all in all, it's a comfortable place to visit, and there were a lot of school kids there under the age of 14 checking this out with their teachers, etc, etc. But I find even myself being highly interested in art and artifacts and pottery and metal and just things made by artisans, after the second level, you've pretty much seen all the ceramic and metal artwork and statues you could probably handle. So it's a great place to go on a really hot day, and it's probably the best place to go if you're seriously interested in studying history and culture of Asia. So if you're going to be studying Asian culture or calligraphy or the history of roof tiles or anything Asian that reflects the life of Korea and the history of the entire region, it's definitely worth getting a human look at these things, so that when you're looking at books or on the internet, you get a sense of the size and scale and scope, textures, the light, all that sort of thing, and how hard these artisans worked back in the day. I can imagine anyone who could create something beautiful out of nothing was very valuable to the kingdom. So as I mentioned before, the history of calligraphy and everything that calligraphy ended up on, from rocks to metal bells, obviously on paper and rice paper, is there, and a history on ceramics, which is probably a must-see for anyone who's interested in developing a career in ceramics pottery. And you know, they have all of this in sort of a series, so you can see how the pottery and earthenware started off quite simple and became incredibly ornate, and then moved in towards metals, and the metal became incredibly ornate. So yeah, it's a good journey through time, and you get to see the origins of the dragons and the birds and the fish and everything on these different items as well. And you know, it's quite nice to see something in its original form, and not something punched out of a factory.
Humpty couldn't put these back together again. Pomegranate.
I know.